GLBP supports authentication, both plain text and MD5. And there's no excuse that you can come up with that would convince me not to use authentication. When a protocol or service offers authentication, you use it because it protects that protocol or service. Now, why use authentication with GLBP? Because you want to prevent a rogue device from joining that GLBP group and becoming an AVF. The last thing you want is a rogue device forwarding traffic for your subnet because it can capture all that traffic that's being forwarded. It's not good. So your goal should be to implement authentication. Now, it supports plain text authentication. Nope, not good enough. Avoid it. Don't use it because the information, the key string, the password is sent in plain text over the network. So since it's being sent in plain text over the network, that rogue device, that rogue malicious user could capture that and just simply use it. It's not strong. You want to go with MD5 authentication, and that's the example they're giving you here. For group 1, you're setting up authentication, it's MD5, and the key string is, as we can see right here, nice, complex, random letters, numbers, characters that can be utilized as part of the MD5 process to come up with the hash. So based on the key, the algorithm, the key string, you can come up with a hash that will be sent over the network instead of the information itself. So let's look at setting up GLBP authentication on R4 and R3. We'll go in the global configuration mode, interface, gigabit Ethernet 0/0. It's GLBP group 43 we're dealing with, and we're going to set up authentication. So plain text authentication, you simply type in text, and then you give it your string. And that string is the one that will be sent over the network in plain text. The other option is MD5. Type in MD5. And notice we have the option of key change or a key string. For heightened security, we can set up a key chain with different keys, different key strings that could be rotated using timers. Might be the time of day, days, months, weeks, years, and so on and so forth. And we can dynamically change the key that's being utilized for the authentication process. So if we are using keychains, you specify the keychain keyword, and then you indicate what keychain you want to use. Or you can set up a key string right here that will be used as part of the process to come up with the hash that will be sent over the network. So with the key string identified here, you specify your authentication key. It's 100 characters max. It's going to have to be the exact same key that is utilized on R3's interface. So let's just use a key string of Cisco here, just for fun. And we will copy and paste that over to R3. Because it has to match, or we will no longer be part of the same group. And well, you can see that right here. So because of authentication, we now have 2 active forwarders. We have and 2 AVGs. We have an AVG on R3 because it can't understand R4's hello packets because the authentication doesn't match, and vice versa. So we have 2 AVGs. We're forwarding for everything. Okay, we got to be careful here. We want to make sure that we don't have mismatch authentication and ruin our GLBP setup. So let's make sure everything matches perfectly. So interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0. Copy and paste that in, and everything should go back to normal now. All right, there we go. We're back in the speak state for the AVG process. We should go to standby here shortly. And in regards to forwarder number 2, we're back in the listen state instead of being in the forwarding state. So definitely authentication might not be something you want to just implement on the fly, middle of the day, because as you can see, it caused a little bit of problems. We had multiple AVGs and multiple AVFs running all at the same time for the same MAC addresses, for the same virtual IPs. It was not a pretty situation. So problems are solved now. Pretty happy with it. Authentication successful. Just to verify though, show standby, or not standby, show GLBP. We are active. We are the forwarder for this MAC address, or pardon me, we are not the forwarder for this MAC address. It is R3 that is, and we are the forwarder for this MAC address. So everything's great. Authentication successful.